Open Mouth Wide by Hakim Bellamy. Buna, Panaho, Sangu Biacheku. My grandfather's name was Leo. My clan is that of the snake people. I never heard him speak Shoshona. Never heard him call me Duai. Never heard him call me son or Bahia or young man. He never saw me make it past finding myself to founding myself because he departed to the happy hunting grounds of his ancestors while my mother was still in the womb. But I imagine him in mirrors and smell him in my dreams. Wake to him pinching me in my tattoo, res radiating in my skin, reds radiating in my kin. I imagine him. I know it doesn't make sense, but I imagine him. A red version of my black granddad. A red version of the black grandfather I met. My father's father, a black version of my mother's father I never met, my dogo I never met. I imagine him telling me what my last name means in our native tongue. I imagine him telling me what my first name means in our native tongue. I imagine him telling me that Bellamy means colonized. I imagine him telling me my name, and that my name is freedom. My native tongue speaks me fluently, that we still live in a world that wants to beat us freedom of speechless, and because of that, he will teach me to spell freedom in every single language he knows. See, my father's father had a 6th grade education, had to become the man of the farm at 14, but loved school. Said if he'd had the chance, he would have been a walking encyclopedia. And I believed him. But he didn't know a lot about books, so he taught me a lot about black, and I imagine Grandpa Leah sounding a lot like that. I don't just imagine him seeing me make it past founding myself. I see him making it past death and founding a school, and I imagine it being a little bit like this. A school where you are not a threat, a school where you become a threat, where you get to keep your left ankle and your right mind, where you are actually given a hand, where you cannot keep up, where no child left behind is ever shot just because we grown-ups are unable to pass our tests. A school that knows that love of learning begins with love of self. A school that is trying to repossess our soul. A community that is trying to repossess our identity, where every class is a dream encyclopedia. Translating the stories my ancestors tell me in my sleep. Transforming my aspirations into accomplishments. We are high technology and high tradition. We ain't in Carlisle anymore, Tonto. Tell Richard Henry Pratt and Johnny Christopher Depp that we are from the school of kill the individualism, save the land. I imagine him asking today's educational reformists to explain the word reform, specifically the part where the school, the military, or the corporation is legally allowed to abduct our children. How long have our schools been in the business of teaching students how to not be themselves? The last time we left our children bored in schools, it was to solve the Indian problem. I can only imagine what creative ideas we'll come up with to solve the education problem, and I imagine him saying all this in Damape, in the name of God, in Sosona. I imagine me knowing more words than Benendaga Nahap. I imagine me knowing better words than Benendaga. I imagine him taking me to school, even if he never laid one brick, never wrote one book or one lecture that I can find myself in. I imagine him founding me, calling me Ona, teaching me words like love, gamankanda, pray, nanishundahunan, fight, nawichiknong, and perhaps even giving me a name like Biake Safa, open mouth wide.